All right, so welcome everybody to Enhancing the Accountant Bookkeeper Connection series for February. I do not have my normal introduction slides, so we will have to just pretend that they are there. I think everybody here knows about me, so I'm just going to pass it right on to Jonathan because I'm on the mend from being ill and my brain is not working so well. So Jonathan is a very dear friend. He is my accountant. We have lots of clients together. We collaborate. And a lot of what I know and the compliments that I get from any other accountants on the work is actually due to Jonathan because he has helped me make myself definitely a better bookkeeper in being able to anticipate what the accountant is looking for, which means that we've been able to streamline our processes internally and on through boot camp. So Jonathan has made a huge impact to the quality that bookkeepers give to accountants. You know, Canada, North American wide. I don't think I've ever said that. So there you go. So you got that.
Thank
Anyway,
you so
so
much.
thank you so much, Jonathan. And I will pass it over to you to take it away today.
All right. Well, I mean, I have to say that goes both ways. Tanya and I met, I wouldn't say early in our journeys, but we've
Early
really
enough.
early enough that we've had a significant impact on each other's businesses, especially when it comes to, creating processes and workflows and making sure things are more streamlined and efficient and effective. So, okay. I'm going to get going with this. Thank you, everybody who's joined as a panelist, because this is definitely going to be an interactive one. Today, we're hunting unicorns. We're going to talk about finding dream clients. I know as a whole, we often will have things to say about clients and we have stories and so on and so forth. But we haven't really talked about what makes a dream client. What is your ultimate customer archetype? And I think this is different for everybody. So just quickly about myself, the founder of CATA Accounting Solutions. I've worked with Intuit for a long time. I've got a bunch of awards over the years, CATA has, and last year was definitely the biggest ever with the 2023 CPB Firm of the Year. We love working with bookkeeping firms, and we actually work directly with many cloud bookkeeping firms. And we try and stay up on the technology and the accounting, although sometimes it can be challenging, and we have worn off of our shiny object syndrome. So we're not early adopters anymore to technology. So just a quick agenda. We're going to talk about who is our dream client, what makes them. And then we're going to talk about developing your own client archetype. And I think this is different for everybody, and we'll get into details about that later. We're going to also talk about how to identify dream clients and what landmines to watch for when you're speaking with a prospect. And then talk about finding them. And then, of course, setting expectations and boundaries. And hopefully we can have some good discussion with this one. So poll question number 1. I hope this functions. If not, Tanya will let us know and we can put the results in the chat so that people can make sure that they have
And it should work because once I can get into Zoom, I should be good. I just have to launch. Okay.
Hosts and
Can
panelists cannot vote.
participants, or sorry, can panelists vote? That's
No.
no. Okay, so I'm ending the poll. There's the allow panelists to vote. It doesn't come up beforehand. So let me try again. Relaunch. Okay.
So I'll move mine off screen so people don't see my answer. But of course, this is a completely subjective question.
Yeah.
Everybody has different opinions. This is just kind of to get your CPD and to see kind of where people's opinions are and where they lie currently.
So we've got 2 more people, it looks like, that vote. So we'll do a countdown. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We will end the poll and share the results.
All right. So they're coachable. I think that is one of the biggest characteristics for sure. I actually answered that they don't exist. They are unicorns. I don't think any dream client exists off the bat, but I think them being coachable will make all the difference, right? If you can work together with them and bring them to where you need them to be, they might not be a dream client when you first start working together, but they can be down the road.
And I was going to say, I do totally believe in the dream client, but you're right. Sometimes you might have to educate them to get them there and a little bit of work, but yeah.
Yep, that's exactly the idea. So, who is a dream client? I'm of the firm opinion it's different for everyone. For instance, when you're developing your client archetype, we'll get into that a bit more after. We want to know, who do you want to work with? What industries do you want to work with? What are the key characteristics you want? And what are the key characteristics your dream client wants? And do you have those characteristics? So you need to see if what they want aligns with your ability to serve that. And that might require, looking deeply inside to, maybe refine processes or to refine communication styles or something like that. And I think it's also very important to create a process for weeding the garden, because there's nothing worse than encountering your dream client or somebody who you think could be a dream client, but you don't have capacity to take them on. So I think that's really important. So I just want to get a quick opinion going around. Anybody chime in? What is a dream client to you?
A dream client is one that lets me run the show and do my job.
So they empower you?
Well, I think more it's a trust thing, that they trust
They
that
trust you?
the value and trust the knowledge that I'm bringing to the table, and that they're not questioning everything I'm doing, or they bulk at, oh, it doesn't need to be done that way. No, we don't need this. We don't need that. I mean, I've been doing this for over 35 years. I know the reasons why I do what I do, and I don't do anything more than I should. So it is about building that trust and valuing what I am bringing to the table.
So they trust you, they value you, they empower you, and they don't get in your way. They aren't a know-it-all who's trying to tell you how to do your job when you're the professional and they're
Correct.
the layperson.
Because I don't tell them how to do their job.
Those are some great characteristics.
Yeah. Thanks.
Seema, I can see you're speaking, but I cannot hear you. Does anybody else want to chime in while she's figuring out her audio? Or is she chatting it up?
How about me?
Sure.
This is kind of an extension of what Carol said, but it's the client that will partner with us. Basically, we
Partnership.
work as a team to get their business going.
Okay.
Yeah.
All
And
right.
mutual respect.
Yes.
They are coming to us as a professional, and they therefore need to respect the knowledge that we have and what we're bringing to the table, and allow, accept the respect from us that they know what they know, they do what they do. So it's, yeah.
So I just want to mention one more thing. I mentioned before, sometimes we have to look inside and we have to make sure that what we offer and what we can provide is what that ideal client wants. If we want to work with them, we need to be able to do what they need. And I also wanted to mention just about industries to work with. So I know there's a lot of advocacy for niching and becoming extremely specialized. And I will just say, like, if you are going to take that approach, and there's nothing wrong with that approach, you definitely have to be very cautious about risk. Because let's say during the pandemic, anybody who specialized in restaurants or travel probably took a big hit, while people who worked in healthcare probably had a lot more demands on their requirements and probably a lot of scope creep and things like that. So it's just something to keep in mind that in what we do at Kata is we look for three kind of blocks of bookkeeping clients. So we have one where we work with a construction consultant on his types of clients. And then we have, the ones who are more traditional, startup tech leveraged, tech style, consultant style companies. And then we have our legacy clients. And we've actually really pared that down. We lost several with our last price increase, and we're really not that upset about the ones who left. They were all in the D or at most C category as far as their letter grades go for our clients. All right, so what are their characteristics? These are just some of the ideas. Let's get some more out here by all means. So this is my opinion. So number one is they know, understand, are willing to pay your value with argument and on time. There's nothing worse than somebody who blows sunshine and, oh yeah, no problem. And then, they get the invoice, they haven't provided the pre-authorized credit card. And 3 months later, they're still saying, oh yeah, I'll pay it now. I'll pay it right now. And, you're still chasing them the next month and the next month. So also something that I kind of missed here was they're able to pay for your services. There's a lot of clients out there who I've met over the years who I would love to work with if they were well financed. And it is probably one of the biggest weaknesses of small business is going into business without sufficient financing, without the cash to support operations as they build their business. And quite often, when they're doing projections and whatnot, they're based on hopes and dreams instead of on plans and tactics. So that's something to keep in mind, oh, we'll be able to pay you once this happens. Well, you know what? Once that starts happening, maybe we should start talking because we can't afford to finance your business. They're engaged. They ask meaningful questions and are coachable. Being coachable, I think, is one of the biggest value out of any client. They are accountable to you and they hold you accountable. So this is creating some risk for you, right? You have to be willing to step up and say, yep, we effed that up. This is what we're going to do to fix it. And, this is what we've done to make sure it doesn't happen again and move on from there. Just going to be frank. We made mistakes in the past. It's cost us a lot in warranty work, in time and money. But you know what? We're accountable to our clients. And that's what I think the way it should be. That shows integrity in your business. They're experts in their area and respect that you're an expert in your field. Wow, that really sounds almost exactly like what Carol said. Carol keeps giving me a one finger thing here, not the one finger salute. Just
no. I just wanted to add to that because I have learned this over the years of the hard knocks to get to the point where I am today. Is I actually don't take on a client unless they're willing to sign a PAD agreement and it's pre-receivables.
Yeah.
Everything is billed on the 1st or 1st and 15th for any services that we do. And if it's a one-off job, it's a prepaid thing. I did something for a lady yesterday to fix her GST. Boom. I sent her the invoice, it was prepaid, it was paid and done before I even started the work. I just don't anymore because I'm tired of, trying to chase clients after the fact. I just don't.
Yeah. And I mean, we've actually this year with tax season, we've changed our pricing. We're now offering 3 different packages. One of them is a subscription-based package. Right. And we're doing it. Our prices have overall gone up, and very much we're trying to weed out the people who are just all about price. Because if you have somebody who's a basic tax return and you start chasing them, it ends up losing money.
And see,
like
we send the T-183 and the invoice and we don't file until we get paid.
As CPA.
I know as a CPA, you guys aren't allowed to do that, which is really, it's shameful because I'm sorry, how is it that you guys charge a heck of a lot more than we do? I mean, I'm only doing T1s, but you're doing T2s. And I think that's just wrong in your industry that they can allow you as a hog tie that you have to file and not get paid.
Yep. We could get on about CPA and some of the rules and so on. And I get why they're there, but I think that they're largely developed by people from either very, very large firms or academia who don't have as much experience in smaller industries. But also, I think that it's, it's kind of the right thing to do, right? You did your work. When they sign, you file. Like this is I'm talking about us. When they sign, we file. And you know what? If we have to chase them Sometimes, unfortunately, that is the cost of doing business, but they might not get an engagement letter from us next year. So the other ones I had here is that they're respectful, polite, and even friendly. Having a friendly and cordial relationship is really good, but I think there does have to be a degree of a boundary there, or else you're going to get phone calls at 11 o'clock at night and stuff like that. And, you know, friendly is one thing, but being friends could be dangerous. So just going to put a pin in that one because it's something just to keep in mind. You know, friends often want the friend discount. I don't know what that is, but we don't really do that. There are only 4 tax returns I do for free every year. They're CAT accounting, my wife's corp, my wife and me. So actually, no, I lied to you. There's 6. I also do my parents. So they never behave inappropriately. Generally speaking, we give 1 warning. If somebody curses out one of our team or does something inappropriate, they get 1 warning, it happens again, and we're going to walk away. And of course, you want them to be long-term clients, particularly that monthly recurring revenue is really, really helpful. Being long-term clients who show up once a year with a shoebox, that's just adding stress to your environment. That in my mind is never a dream client to have a cleanup. So I'm sure, I know there are characteristics that I missed. Does anybody have something that they'd like to add? No. Oh, and I love your contributions. Why? Maybe try joining audio by phone? Oh, you wrote in the chat. I love involved clients, the one who know their businesses inside and out. Absolutely. A client who abdicates responsibility is not a client I want to work with. They can delegate responsibility, but I want them to hold us accountable. And I want them to be accountable to us. We had a client recently who disengaged with us due to a price increase. And he actually said to us, like, your time spent following up with me is not my problem. He essentially, in my mind, told us our time was not worth anything. And I don't ever want to work with somebody like that. So I moved on. All right, so let's develop our client archetype. So this is the approach that I've taken when I started going through the list and thinking about this. This was a great webinar to prepare because it really made me think, and it made me consult with my team and have them think, what do we like about the clients we like? And what don't we like about the clients we have? And it can be that we like somebody, but there's something about them we don't like, and that can be coached up. Right? So we have one client who's, I'm sure you've heard us talk about him before in the hemp industry, and he has gone from being near nightmare client to being near dream client. It's taken a few years, but he's been coachable. And he's not like, okay, he learns one time. He really absorbs it. He really understands it. And one of the best things he does is he looks forward. So for instance, they had a change in control. So that required an extra tax return for this year. They also have reporting requirements for their financing and their investors. And because of these complications, we were planning that out in August. Even though the change of control, we were able to set a change of control date to save him money and to save us time on that extra T2 that had to happen. And we were able to understand and work with the larger firm who was doing the reorganization to understand exactly what we had to do from a bookkeeping perspective, exactly when the date was. And in the end, we actually had it done a few days before the change in control happened because we were able to collaborate with that firm. Just randomly, that firm was MNP, and we really had a good experience with that partner that we were working with. So I don't know if that's here nor there. So speaking about the clients you have, what is it you don't like about them specifically? And can you help them become clients that you like? What are the barriers to that? And I'll go back to, I preach her philosophies a lot, Tanya Woods Richardson. I think a lot of it comes down to the emotion, right? people are afraid of dealing with their books, dealing with their numbers, and it allows small problems to become big problems, right? So we have one client who has got a very successful business. He's been with us for a few years, but he hates dealing with the accounting side of the aspect. Or the bookkeeping side. He'll sit down and he'll bear down and he'll get things done over a weekend, but he hates doing it, and he has to do it because he continues to let things build up. What we've done to try and help him get to where we want him to be is regular contact and not via email, because it became very clear to us that it was very easy for him to ignore our email reminders. So our bookkeeper started calling him once a week and being like, hey, I don't see anything. Can you upload it this weekend and I'll work on it on Monday? And things like that. Now, the good thing about this client is he doesn't give us everything and then want it done tomorrow. He understands that he is the bottleneck there. But we're working with him. Hopefully one day he'll become an A client. Right now he is a C client. And he's been stuck at a C client since we brought him up from being near an F client. So what are some of the characteristics? What are some things you love about clients you have? What are some things you hate about clients you have or dislike?
So I like responsive clients. I like nice clients. And that's really hard to, I mean, what we do and what I talk about in boot camp and whatnot as well is, when I see the client call, if I want, not that I can, but if I want to stop and answer the phone and say, hey, how's it going? Like, if I'm happy to stop my work, like say, not that I can, because a lot of time it's deep work, but if I feel that, hey, I want to pick up the phone and say hi, gives me warm, fuzzy feelings, that's definitely good. If we sit there and go, oh, it's them again, whether we see an email or see them show up on the phone, that means they go straight to the top of the firing list. We've either got to change what is making them do that. And a lot of times it's their personality. And you know what? You can't fix stupid sometimes, right? Let's just be blunt with it. So some personalities can't change. So depending on what it is, sometimes, yes, you can coach them into it a little bit, but for the most part, so that's kind of how we gauge it here. And it's really hard to describe like what is a nice person, because a nice person to me might be a not nice person to somebody else, but that's kind of what we look at it. And I know Sandra loves it when I'm in the mood, because if I'm in the mood and somebody talks bad to her, she's like, Tanya, fire them. I'm like, all right, they're gone. No questions asked, just fire them. It's now what I do want to say, and I love this, and I don't know that I would ever do this, but it's a very interesting idea. Diane Mueller. I'm sure lots of us on the call know Diane. She has
Big admirer.
one client every year that she fires. She does not know who they are. They all know. She picks one. So basically, she has all of her clients competing to be not the worst, because the worst gets fired every single year.
Ooh, I like that.
I
That's an
know, I
interesting
know.
idea.
It's really, when she told me that, I'm like,
Yeah.
that is so interesting. And her clients all know that every single year she go back and she picks the worst of them, or the least, the one that was, not the nicest or whatever. But yeah, she fires one every year, regardless. If they're all great, she still picks one. So
You know
just
what?
interesting.
I think that's a really good thing, is like I like that idea that Diane does, and I'm a big admirer of her. But that comment about feeling, how do they make you feel? I think that's really important. I think our gut absorbs, our subconscious absorbs a lot of information and communicates that to us through feelings, even though we might not consciously be recognizing a problem. And it's very common, and I'm sure everybody's heard, go with your gut. That if somebody, like the phone rings and you're just like, oh, yeah, disengage. Better yet, when you're speaking with them at the beginning, listen for the landmines and don't engage with them in the first place. Does anybody else have any others to add here? Yes, Lynn.
Mostly the same as what Tanya said, responsive. And that to me is having a routine where I know that when I ask for something that's missing, that they will get it to me and I can say, well, I know that client responds within a couple of hours, or that one is a day. But I'm going to have it and I don't have to go back a second time.
Mhm.
One and done.
Yeah,
I'm not their
chasing
mother.
is, yeah. And chasing is, we know, one of the more frustrating parts of what we do. I
Yeah.
would add to the responsiveness that they're responding in a meaningful way, right? And that they're not coming at you with stuff out of the blue and expecting it to be part of their engagement and expecting you to be able to drop everything and address it. So one of the most frustrating emails I get is somebody who forwards me something and says, thoughts? And it's like, so you want me to go in, drop what I'm doing, go and read about this, and then give you my opinion on it when we don't have an engagement to cover that kind of thing? Or possibly we do have an engagement to cover that kind of thing, but you want, that immediate response. I mean, tell me why this interests you. Tell me why you're sending me this information and what your expectation is of me before, or of our team before you send it, right? Another is, with the responsiveness that I would warn about, and Lynn, I think you kind of captured this well, is that they're not just responding for the sake of responding. I have one friend, and God bless his heart, we've been friends since we were like young teenagers. And I play with him sometimes when we're talking on text, because he always has to have the last text. And so I can just give him a thumbs up and I'll always get a response. And I'll give him a thumbs up and he'll respond. I know it's might not be the nicest thing to do, but yeah, I tease him about it from time to time. So does everybody here have a client archetype? Or more than one client archetype? I see Tanya nodding.
I do, but again, it's more the feeling. There's certain industries that we prefer, certain industries we will stay away from, certain behaviors that we absolutely will stay away from. But for the most part, it's very difficult to put down. And this is where our questionnaire that we send out has certain questions on it. And the one most important question that if we haven't determined by then whether they're a good fit or not, this tells us a lot about the person. And it's, we ask them to rate, on a scale of 1 to 5, what they feel is most important in a bookkeeper. And that is, data entry, price, liaison with accountant, knowledge, all of, accountability, following CRA compliance, all of that. And so when we see people that are high data entry, low, CRA compliance, low price, I mean, immediately we tell them that they don't value what we do. So it's really interesting. We have many touch points throughout it. One of them is, we'll ask them at the beginning, we can send them a questionnaire, and the questionnaire will take about 5 minutes for them to fill out over the phone, or sorry, fill out, or it takes about 30 minutes, to do over the phone. What do they prefer? That's a test question. If they say, oh, let's do it over the phone, we don't have time, because that tells us either they don't value our time, or they don't value their time, or somebody said, well, what if they're not comfortable with tech? Regardless, they're not a good fit for us for one of those many things. So I have many different trick questions in there, just kind of like when you're a parent and you ask your child, the answer you're looking for, right? And if it's not the answer, you're like, no, 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 in the corner you go.
Yeah. I'm sorry if you're getting some background noise. No background noise? Okay, good. Just started hailing really bad, right against the window right beside me. So it's just like, I know I was working with a teammate this morning and I could hear it over her mic. So it's just wondering. I really like that idea, Tanya, and I hope you don't mind. I think I might steal a bit of that for our bookkeeping customer intake. Does anybody have a suggestion on how to get people to read and or watch videos? Because that's something that drives us nuts too, is we put this time into drafting these awesome canned emails that help communicate exactly what you have to do, usually with a video attached to it. And we're finding that the number of people who actually watch the video is very, very low. Like probably close to 1 in 1,000, that low.
Wow. So
And
what,
sorry.
yeah, if I can just, one thing that we do, I'll share this, it's not foolproof, but it at least puts the ownership back on the client. When we onboard them, and it was at a CPB Canada, I want to say the one that we had in Quebec that Sandra and Leanne went to it, and it was the onboarding. You do a 3-month onboarding. So we actually do a 3-month onboarding with the client where we basically meet with them once a week. Might only be a 2-minute phone call, kind of go through, help get them set up into the proper habits. But during that, we actually go through, here's our client handbook. We send you information. You are required to, to read it. If you don't, here are the consequences. So we let them know upfront and we make them sign it to say that they understand that. And those consequences might be that if they don't respond to us properly or give us the information, and this now goes out monthly to them as well. So if they don't read it, we hit them with it. It doesn't matter because they've signed off, they've listened. I have made sure that they heard me say, we set these up for them for success and that they need to take that accountability. Just as an example of like our Ask Client sheet. If they don't respond to us, when we go to reconcile, it moves automatically from the bank feed to the balance sheet now. We used to put it as a suspense account on the profit and loss. We now have changes to suspense account on the balance sheet. So they're not getting, it's not skewing their credits at all, or their net profit margin. And in order for us to take it out, they are billed $1.99 an hour, minimum 3 hours for us to do it. We can do it quarterly, we can do it monthly, we can do it annually, or it will stay there and be brought to the attention of the accountant, and the accountant will charge them more to do that. And we let them know that, and we make them sign off of that at year end as well. So there's certain things we do to try to force their accountability. It's not 100%. We always, usually get somebody somebody that's not doing it, but that's when we did, go back and take a look. Are you a good client? So what is them not watching the videos or not reading? What is the impact to you and your work? That's kind of how I look at it. If it's going to have a negative impact, they need to have a consequence and they need to be held accountable, or they're gone.
Yeah, one of my biggest weaknesses is I want to help everybody. And so, I'm kind of a bit of a softie. So taking that out of my hands has been helpful.
So
Getting
you need a
another team member
Sandra.
to do it.
Sandra's background is accounts receivable collections. Everybody needs a Sandra because she is, nope, here it is.
So this is an area that I was hoping we'd have some discussion about. How to identify a dream client. A very wealthy person once told me, you have 2 ears, 2 eyes, and 1 mouth, use them accordingly. And I think that really, really does help. If you're speaking to somebody and they can't wait to get out of there, they're probably not a good client. If you're speaking with somebody and, they're saying things that you're not liking, or they're talking about, writing off the family vacation or something, they're probably not people you want to work with. So, watch and listen for the key indicators. They don't have to be perfect fits, but they can conflict with anything. So we'll get a bit more into that with the landmines. Ask probing open questions. Don't ask, do you need? Because do is a yes or no answer. Maybe, what do you need? And then you can gauge their knowledge level to understand, their understanding of what compliance entails, what bookkeeping entails, things like that. How would you do X? Asking questions about their behavior might give you more insight into into how they will be as a client. Of course, people tend to think their behavior is better than it is. It's just a natural human tendency. So you can't always take it 100% at first value. You have to watch what they actually do when you start working with them to understand. Also, you have to watch for their actual versus their perceived needs. They might think I just need my bookkeeping and taxes done. Well, maybe they need HST. They need some T4s issued. They need T5018s or RSP tax planning for themselves. There could be a lot more in there that they need that they're not even aware of. So it's important to probe and to ask those questions, and it can bring you into an upsell opportunity quite often. So tears, 2 eyes, 1 mouth, they need to be used in proportion. So landmines. know what a good fit is and know what a bad fit is. I know some bookkeepers out there who love to get the person who's late, who has a shoebox, and they just tell them, okay, it'll, I'll be done when I'm done. And they'll sit down and they'll work on it and send them the questions, and that's fine. They're not really accountable to being on time because the person's already late. I know some people really like that. I can't stand that. I don't think you can build a business on it. Another bad fit for me would be somebody who's trying to trick us. And we've seen that a lot where somebody is like trying to sneak something past indexed or something like that. Those kind of things, we call them out. We put them to shareholder loan as appropriate. And we just say, hey, listen, like this is not correct. You should not be doing this. This should not be being paid out of this company, things like that. Make sure that their motivations and their priorities align with what you want in a client. If their motivation is to pay no tax or rob the government, probably not a good fit. If their priority is to have strong regular numbers they can look at to plan the future of their business, that could be an excellent potential dream client. So these were the three things that were my top landmines to listen for. I'd be very interested to hear from the group about any landmines that you might consider. So number one for us is ethics that conflict with ours. We have actually stopped entertaining certain types of businesses. We're trying to align the businesses we serve with our values more. So we're doing more work with companies that can have an environmental or social justice impact. And, that's our choice, right? We stopped working with cash money stores, for instance, and others who are just like out to make a fast buck. We had an inquiry from a debt consolidation company, and I really didn't agree with how they were working. They were a debt consolidation consultant. And it was one of those, they charged the customer a couple thousand to get them that initial meeting with another bankruptcy and trustee for a fee when they would have done the meeting for free. And I just really think that's unethical behavior. So we don't do that. If somebody asks, the first question is how much, I tell them it's $1 million for shock factor, if nothing else. Because I have no idea how much your bookkeeping is going to cost until I open up the hood and look at the mess that you have. Right. And I have no idea how much your tax return is going to cost until I have an understanding of what it is. This is a great place to put in the canned email. We've gotten probably about 40 cold inquiries this tax season. Just, I have no idea how they found us. They've come through the website. They've asked for more information, and almost all of them, I think it was 38 out of 40, were asking about price first. So we just have a great canned email that gets sent out automatically. And then, they have to acknowledge and hit yes to start working with us, and then we'll take them seriously. So if their first thing is price, they don't value you. They're just looking for the lowest thing. One of the things that kills me is somebody will spend $200 on a pair of shoes and then complains about a tax return price. A person tax return price. And Carol, I'm not talking about you. Okay. All right. Another is looking for abdication of responsibility or immediately inquiring about liability. So I did have a meeting with a family who is asking for an accounting opinion, and BDO had turned them away. And after about the first 2 minutes, I understood why, because one of the brothers, literally the first question he asked was, how well are you insured if you screw up and we need to sue you? Like, it was the first question he asked. So needless to say, I was like, listen, I have no interest in this. If you want an opinion, get a ruling from CRA. They'll give you a definitive ruling. You don't have to worry about any consequences because they'll tell you exactly what's what, but I'm not taking that. We also had an inquiry from, of all things, a coach that was obviously uncoachable, because she said she did not want to have any back and forth at all. She did not want to provide bank statements or anything. She just wanted it done. Completely wanted to abdicate responsibility. I would not recommend her for coaching. So, sorry, I want to hear about from everybody here, any other landmines that you've encountered, or things that it's like, that are triggers?
Everything is an emergency.
Oh,
Yeah. Yeah. There's no such thing as an accounting emergency. There's only bad planning and
Yep.
disorganization.
and I think one of the things too, I have a client right now, her year end, I got everything done except for, you know, a little bit of uncategorized list. And now I've been waiting for almost 2 months, because she's really super busy. So
We have a
it's just
client
sitting.
who shared with another firm, and she sent us an email like after we almost finished her taxes. We were like really close to being done her taxes. She's like, and it was like, I don't know, it's like December 26th or something. She's like, oh my God, I need compiled financials by the 31st. I was like, my immediate response is, well, you didn't ask for them, so we haven't prepared them. So it's definitely not happening by the 31st. Why? And then we got to the root problem. We busted our butt to get them done. We got them off for her review. Crickets for the last 2 weeks.
Wow.
Yeah. So, you know, I mean, that's the kind of thing that can happen as well. But you know, who's when is it urgent for who? It's really not urgent for me. You know, I'm not sitting here twiddling my thumbs waiting for you to show up. So any other landmines?
About the same thing. I think Jonathan had a guy wanting to get set up and running in accounting software because he didn't have anything and really wanted to get up and learn how to do it. And that's okay, that fits the bill. We're going to do that. So I send him a list of what I need. And then it was like pulling chicken's teeth to get anything out of him. And then fast forward, he says, oh, I've talked to the accountant. The accountant's just going to do it from what I've got. He had literally nothing. And it's like, okay,
In the end, he's going to have to accept responsibility for that, right?
exactly. Have a nice day. I pointed out the pitfalls and said, yep, we're just not a good fit.
Seema, I want to address what you put in there about offering to give you the online banking password. I think following instructions is really important and really, really key. And we're constantly telling people, do not email us your T4. Do not send your SIN or credit card information over email. It is not secure. We can give you a link. You can give it to us through that link. That will be secure and like really good encryption. There's no need to take these risks. And if they send you a password through an email and that email gets intercepted and somebody else goes on and starts emptying their bank account, who's going to get blamed? Right? We're very clear about that for us as well. And the following instructions part is really important. All right, I am going to move on, but I hopefully will have a little bit of time at the end. So where are your dream clients? I'll tell you where mine are not, and that is in-person networking groups. So I've learned over the years that in-person networking groups are a lot of fun. They're great to like kind of give you a bit of a break. But generally speaking, the people who are at those in-person networking groups are not your ideal client. They're probably not. Now, some questions is what kind of client are you looking for? Are they business to consumer, business to business? And how are they looking for their service providers? Right? Are they looking for them at your local networking group at the Chamber of Commerce? Or is that more of a social brand awareness activity for them? Are there industry specific things that you could look at? Is there a competition who specializes in the industry? What are they doing that you're not? Where do your industry specific potential clients congregate? Do they congregate? Because I found that some don't. You know, I'd love for us to take on more Ontario daycares with the Seawalk issue. You know, we've got a good handle on it, but I don't know where to go to find them. We have a great unicorn client now. She's, I love this woman. I could talk about her for like an hour, but I asked her, it's like, where do you guys go? And she's like, we don't go anywhere. It's like, we might know a couple other business owners and share information word of mouth, but we don't go to conferences. We don't go to big, networking events or anything like that, right? When they're looking for a service provider, they're looking to their network. And then another question is, why are they looking for a service provider? Are they looking for the service provider because they really haven't budgeted for this and they've got a mess they need to get out of? You know, those kind of things. And then asking yourself, who do your referrals partners work with? So for instance, I have one referral partner who I absolutely love. Unfortunately, a lot of the referrals from them are not a good fit because they're focused on price. And when I look at it, they're high net worth individuals, most of them worth in excess of $2 million. A lot of them are business owners, but all they want is the quick and dirty, the cheap, and that's it, in and out. So has anybody ever encountered a dream client by in-person networking at like a BNI or something like that? No. I see Carrie speaking, but I can't hear her.
Possibly. I'm not sure yet. It's in the works.
So my dream clients, I would say we have two. One of them came from a referral partner, and the other one was the one who started off as a nightmare. Actually, I would say we have three. One of them was from a referral partner, the construction consultant. The guy truly is a unicorn. And then another was from networking with bookkeepers and accountants, where a bookkeeper who specialized in one industry had somebody from a different industry looking for bookkeeping help. And then one of them came from an angel investors event in Brampton. And that was the one who started off as a nightmare and has become a dream client. And it's all because of his capacity to learn and to grow.
Well, if I look at our clients, one of them, two of them actually, sorry, one of them came from Kijiji, believe it or not, Kijiji. Kijiji, when I very first started out.
Wow.
And she's been, you'll know who she is. She's been through 6 accountants, of no true fault of the accountant, and one bookkeeper, just us, since she started the business. We just happened to have the best website, the most professional website that she found on there at that point. And that was it. And she is absolutely wonderful, wonderful dream client, true dream client when it comes to everything. And you know what? The other ones I would have to say have come from referrals from accountants. There's one that she's not quite there yet. She's come from you, Jonathan. You know who I'm talking about on that too. Not quite there, but I see the potential for her. And then there's, another one that we're working right now that saw the books and was like, okay, we don't want to get into this type of bookkeeping. And so they're sending somebody over, and they sound so far and seem so far like they may be. We'll have to wait and see on that. But it's, the accountant is still doing the book. So it's not like that they're just trying to get rid of them. They want to pass them off to somebody who's going to, make sure that they don't get these phone calls and that the work is good and quality. So it's not like they're like, oh, I don't want to do them, so I'm going to give them to you, because I would always trust, well, why are you sending them over to me, and why are you not keeping them for yourself then? There's always that question to it, right? And I think it comes from people that really know the books. And then, of course, those ideal clients hopefully can, congregate with other ideal clients and refer ideal clients. But it's been referrals mostly. Other than that one from Kijiji, everybody else has been a referral.
I do want to be clear and just clarify something. I was only talking about bookkeeping clients. I wasn't talking about tax clients.
Yeah. No, that's yeah.
Yeah, okay. The bookkeepers who we do taxes for are freaking amazing. Like, we usually have this stuff within 5 weeks of their year end. It's ready to go, and it actually is ready to go. And it's really, it's a big difference when you work with professionals. All right, I'm going to move on so people can get their CPD. But with the expectations and boundaries, again, I reinforce it's nice to be friendly, but be careful about getting too involved on the personal level with a client. And I always advise entrepreneurs that as well. It's like, don't hire your best friend or your girlfriend or your brother. Their first relationship with you is girlfriend or best friend or brother, and they will never see you as the boss first. So, with the prospect, make sure that both of your expectations are well defined and understood. Watch for scope creep and let them know it's scope creep, and make sure to charge them for the scope creep. and make sure the characteristics align with your needs and wants, and your characteristics align with their needs and wants. And then when they become a client, enforce those boundaries, right? I always get people who are texting me, who are calling me with questions. It's like, send an email. If you send an email, somebody might answer you before I can, right? And also it'll go into our system and I'll remember to answer. If you send me a text message, once I have that text message, who knows if I'll get back to you or not. Set and enforce the processes, explain the why behind them, coach early and often. And, you know, if you're being coached, accept, digest, and implement that feedback. If there is something that you can do to be more accountable, implement it. So let's get on to the law of attraction. Sorry. In summary, positive and negative thoughts and behaviors attract the same into your life. That's like just a summary of the law of attraction. They can extend to other ideas such as price, quality, and value. So if you're always looking for the cheapest deal, you're going to inadvertently attract people who are always looking for the cheapest option. If you're always looking for the best quality, you're probably going to attract people who are looking for the best quality. Think about what you value and who you're attracted to, and from that, who you're attracting. Keep in mind that it's all led from mindset. So on to the last poll question. What makes a dream client? I'll move this off so people can't see my answer. Yeah, eventually I'll move this on. Oh,
Two questions came up.
Oh, yeah, that second they are engaged should be they have a strong business. Sorry, guys. This is Jonathan sent everything over to me while I was still feverish. The fever is gone, but we'll blame that on the fever.
We love you anyways.
Oh, thank
you're
you.
talking about delirium. I have regularly been having auditory hallucinations that the baby is crying when he's not.
Oh, I bet. Yeah.
Like almost daily. It's like, oh, is he crying? No, he's
Yep. That will never go away. You know, once you're a parent, it never goes
Great.
away.
Great.
Yep. All right.
All right.
Okay, so we'll count it down. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We'll end the poll, share the results.
All right. So the answer that I had was they're different for everyone. Everyone has different wants, needs, has different values. So that's my opinion, is that a dream, you know, for instance, there was a client, a prospect that came in. He was a friend and he was in the restaurant industry. We don't serve restaurants. But guess what? He turned out to be a dream client for somebody else. You know, e-commerce, I think that has happened more than once. Where we've had somebody come in who's e-commerce and we don't really want to deal with e-commerce anymore, and we can connect them with people who can, right? The client that Tanya was talking about, one of my favorite things about that client is she wants to know, she wants to learn. She doesn't always retain it all, but she's so nice and she's got such a great attitude and she wants to learn. She asks good questions. So like I said, you know, not the dream client for us from a bookkeeping perspective, but it turns out to be working out really well for CBS. All right. Just, you know, dream clients are different for everyone. Know the characteristics of your dream client and seek them out and develop your dream client archetype. Don't divert from it. Know what you're looking for in your dream clients and work with them. Don't compromise and watch for those landmines. Don't accept somebody who shows you more than one landmine. And even if they show you one, it's a pretty good reason not to accept them most of the time. Set the expectations and boundaries and be accountable to one another. So this is the first time I think I've ever quoted Steve Jobs. Your customers dream of a better and happier life. Don't move products, instead enrich lives. I like that a lot. So questions, discussions, you all know me. I don't think there's a face here I don't recognize. So I hope we're all connected on socials and whatnot.
Okay, well, everybody have a wonderful day.